Ladies and gentle hands, welcome back to the hardcore world, and in today's video I want to begin working a little bit more on our nether hub. Now right now we're in our seaside area, and it's for a very good reason. One, it looks very pretty out here. I love the vibes of the jungle grass and the stony cliff faces and the boat out there. I love that little tugboat, and this lighthouse is so beautiful. But the reason we're out here actually is because we have another hub system that comes out to this location. We have a train station right over here, and this was a temporary spot, and it's a pretty basic train station. There's not a lot going on here. It's a, we got our copper kind of theme going out throughout the whole area, but it's kind of in an odd spot because, the rest of our world, or not world, the rest of the seaside area is all over there, and this is pretty far removed. So I think I want to tear this out, make it all abandoned and everything. Then we'll work on a new train station, probably coming out of this mountain right here. I think a nice little hole kind of carved out right here, or maybe even a little bit further back to, pop out over here. And then you get to see a lot more of this section of the town. And then when you come out a bit further, you get to see the lighthouse and all the little townhouses up there and everything. So work on the train station, but more importantly, the main reason you might have clicked on today's video is we're going to be working on the actual hub, the center point, the main junction of the full train system. Let's go head over there real quick through this nether portal. So if you didn't catch last week's episode, I highly recommend you watch it because we worked on the basis, the foundation, the beginnings of our nether hub with this nice little train here, this little cable cab, little tram, whatever you want to call it. I love this thing, and a lot of you guys really liked it too with the, the very industrial kind of vibe we got going on here with the power lines going all above it and the nice little lanterns or lamps, the lamp posts, yes, all right here, and the train tracks going there. But I also want to work on the main center hub here because I talked a little bit about my imagination for this hub area, and I want to do a big kind of terraforming mountain range all around this area here, and then on each cardinal direction here. This is like our west branch, this is our north branch, east branch, and our south branch. Each one I want to make a nice little tunnel for that goes into the mountain and kind of just establishes the whole vibe we have going on here, because I want to do a whole open roof. I guess open roof is not really accurate, maybe open sky access nether hub here, because typically a lot of other people, when they make their nether hubs, it's in the nether, or it's like all encased in a tunnel system, and it's kind of boring to exist in. There's not very much interesting things going on, and I want to be interesting with our nether hub on the roof here. So we're going to embrace the fact that we're on the roof. We're making a nice little mountain range here, and then a little bit further back, we're going to be making a cool tunnel system. We're going to have these tracks here actually turn instead of going straight right here. We're going to have them turn into its own little tunnel, and then straight ahead here will be an actual tunnel that we take that will go all the way out to the seaside area and our desert, which is also even further out. It's like all the way over there. Very, very far away. So before we begin working in a nether hub here, let's begin working on the train station over in the seaside area. And I have a very fun theme that fits very well with the vibe of the whole seaside area. So let's fly on over there. Hello again, seaside area, and hello, wandering villager. You just spawned in. What do you got for me here? Ooh, a nautilus shell? That's actually pretty solid. But I don't think I need it. Thank you for the offer. Anyways, I digress. Here we are at the seaside area, and we have our new little area here for the train station. We already carved it out because I wanted to save myself and you guys a little bit of pain of trying to figure out how we're going to lay this whole place out here. So this will be our entrance. We'll be using our classic wax coppedized stairs. Coppedized is crazy talk. We'll just do something like that. Very easy entrance in, and then similar to what we have going on in the cyberpunk city, we have those turnstiles right here. So we'll do the same thing. We'll have a nice little set of stairs behind here as well. Then we'll have the train area right down here. We'll have our selection panel somewhere on this wall. And then this will be where the train track actually goes. And we'll have the nether portal go out this way. A good little, 10 blocks or so. Probably actually less than that. The first thing we should do, though, is actually see if we'll be able to hook up the nether portal. We got to run back over here to our old abandoned subway station down here. I guess I could have actually ripped out a lot of this stuff, but let's keep it, a little memory's sake. But we do got to rip out the portal here because we need this guy. Ow, my ears. Holy crap, that was so loud. But yeah, we need the obsidian for our portal. Make sure it all links up, all nice and dandy. All right, let's see. Does it link up? Pretty please. Make my life easier. Come on. Oh, we love to see that. And we got to make sure it all lines up properly too in terms of like orientation. So if we're going in this way, should be facing out towards this right here. All right, cool. We are all good to begin working on the actual build here. So thematically with the whole seaside area, we have a very, you know, I guess kind of set in stone color palette. So first, we use a lot of reds and whites and a little bit of the cyan colors. Cyan colors? Why did I say it so weird? Of the dark prismarine and like those cyan colors. What? This area is also not very safe, so maybe we should sleep. So we'll try to stick to these colors for the most part. I do want to get some pale wood. I definitely didn't bring any because I'm a little bit of a noob, all right? I did bring a lot of quartz, which quartz will definitely work, but I think pale wood would be a nice little detail as well for some texturing on these walls. So I guess I gotta head back real quick. Oh, jeez. Let me grab my freaking elytra. Let's make this quick. Ow. Alright, so now we got our pale wood. I think the first thing we should do actually is install the floors and get the vibe going here. I do know that, you know, sticking with our theme, we will be doing bamboo stairs along the edge here, kind of being like a little bit of the caution tape you see in subways, where it's like, don't cross this line unless the train is here or whatever. Then we gotta install the copper pillars along the edge here, and I'm just gonna do 3. Nothing too crazy. Just want to keep it nice and open feeling, but still a little bit crowded, because I kind of like that vibe. Okay, I know I said I was trying not to steal from this other train station over here, but I do need the trapdoors. I brought the wrong trapdoors, so if you don't mind me, excuse me, I'm just gonna borrow all of these. All right, and copper trapdoors are also kind of expensive, so I'm allowed to reduce, reuse, and recycle. All right. All right, this is looking pretty good, but I'm kind of thinking maybe we do a little 5 wide right here and kind of keep it a little bit more open. I feel like the 3 pattern we got going on here, the odd 3, is a little bit odd. So if we do something like this, I think that's just a little bit nicer on the eyes and it kind of guides your eyes over there a little bit easier than with the pillar kind of in the middle, kind of cutting off your line of sight of the like the main subway track. All right, to keep in theme with the rest of Seaside, we're going to do the dark prismarine around the edges of the whole room here. I guess we'll start down here just because we have a little bit more done down here. And I think pretty simply, we'll just do white walls and then maybe we do a red trim on top too. That could be kind of neat to really tie in the whole place together. I think I will also want to curve in the roof a little bit and have a bit more shape to it instead of just it kind of being a box. No, I think I want to install those turnstiles right now. Maybe we do a turnstile here and here. And then we kind of keep this separated to be like a left and a right side, you know, like a enter and exit, you know, keep the flow of traffic going. Nice, I like that. That feels nice. So it's the smaller details that count, you know? All right, but let's start working on the walls now. All right, I like the vibe, but I think I need a bit more structure down here. Okay, but we're gonna put the panel for the selector, I guess, right here in the middle. So I'll carve out a little spot for it. I'm gonna have to go 1 more wide. You know, what if we start throwing in a little bit of tuff around here? I think tuff could look really nice. Kind of a nice darker contrast to this whole palette. So if we do something like this, maybe on the back end here, we do a bit of the chiseled tuff. Okay. Of course, we got to get all of our colors in for our little panel here. There we go. Oh, man, I wish there were frickin' some quartz walls. But I'll have to go find some diorite, because... Oh, yeah, I have some diorite. Never mind. But we'll just do a little bit of that. We'll use the tuff there to kind of blend in the dark prismarine, just because, you know, colors are kind of similar. It's a little bit of a stretch, but there's no dark prismarine wall. Mojang, please. At this point, we already had our palette and our layout and everything all figured out, so I was just kind of filling in the blanks. All right, I mean, for the most part, we got our vibe going on here. We just need to add in a little bit more lights and fix up the roof on this side here where the actual track will come in. And and all that fun stuff. I was thinking about doing the redstone and getting this station fully set up, but I don't think I have time to do a bunch of meddling redstone. Oh, I'm honestly not in the mood for all my little complicated redstone I made for this whole system. I haven't known the other stations. It's fine. Maybe I'll do a little live stream and we'll work on that another time. But yeah, we have our theme down. We have our blocks, our palette. It's all looking pretty good. So I guess we just gotta finish the rest of the build. Let's lock in and get it done. Okay, cool little trick here, just unlocked. We're using birch trapdoors to act as the actual lights, and then we have the lights kind of, you know, back there receded a bit more. And then we're gonna deoxidize these one layer, and then we'll honeycomb them. And now we have our little light fixtures that kind of look like lanterns a bit, with a bit of a dimmer look to it too. And using those white, you know, the white part of the birch trapdoor there, it just looks like a white light, which is pretty nice. I mean, yeah, I could have just used, you know, the frog light on that layer, and it probably would have looked fine, but I wanted the dimmer look. Oh, we need a light over here for sure. Beautiful. All right, here we go. This is pretty much the whole vibe I'm going for in the train station here. I'm quite happy with it. Maybe we add in some benches here in the middle. We got to clean up a bit, though. Clean up on train station, please. You know, we got to stay in theme, so maybe we do a few mangrove benches. I like that idea. We can throw one over here in this corner, although maybe we do... Yeah, let's do this. Benches right there. We can do another bench right here. Oh, it would be nice to get a little bit of pottery in here. Maybe we don't do benches right here, and we save this for some awesome decoration. Then we can definitely do some of these benches in the middle where they're kind of like the double-sided things. I don't know what to call them. They're the double benches. But something like that is pretty neat. And then we got to make sure we can craft up a few signs to kind of border it. Dude, one sign short is so troll. Oh. All right, I guess we're having extras we're bringing home. All right, the last thing we got to do is we got to come over here and steal the rails. Yeah, we're stealing one more time from the old station. But I mean, like, these rails aren't going to be used anymore. There's no harm in taking back these. I will borrow all of this. And there we have it, folks. We are pretty much done with this area, with the train station. It's looking pretty nice. We can throw in all of our stuff in there. We can put back one of our extra ender chests. And we're all pretty much good to go. Obviously, you know, we still need to do all the redstone and everything. And like I said, we'll do it on a little bit of a live stream. Ayo. Of course, if you want to be notified about the live stream, make sure to join the Discord, discord.gg/barce. But now that we have this part of our train station done, it's time to begin working on the main build for today's episode, the Nether Hub. I hope you guys enjoyed that little mini interiors with barce segment there. It wasn't as much as I typically do, but I had a fun time working on that station. But now it's time for us to work on the cool part of our Nether hub, the part that's actually in the Nether and part of the train system. So the main inspiration for our build today is actually from the town I live in. There is this really neat tunnel that I go through every so often when I'm going into town, and I just love the vibe of the tunnel. And the whole outside of it is very heavily foliage. There's a lot of trees, there's a lot of grass and leaves hanging out over the sides of the stonework. And I really love when nature kind of interacts with human-made work, like a lot of the industrial stuff that we have done as modern humans. And I love when nature kind of overtakes and like establishes its presence again. I love when Mother Nature kind of wins those fights. And the tunnel in particular that I'm referencing, I'm not going to name names, but it is very much overgrown and has a lot of that greenery kind of built up around the sides of it. A lot of really nice trees. Unfortunately, you know, there's not really any mountains that it's necessarily going through. I think there's a little bit of a hill that it's, you know, the whole point of the tunnel is it goes through a hill, right? So we have to build up a little bit of a mountain to give a bit more context on why there even is a tunnel in the first place, you know? So that's pretty much the whole, that's the whole inspiration. I'm very excited to work on this. I had a lot of fun like texturing this and coming up with all the designs. The worst part about building this nether hub is going to be spawn proofing everything, because we have to layer every single surface with leaves or a carpet of some sort, or just some sort of mob spawnable proof blocks. Like slabs also work, or even anvils technically work, but we're not going to be using anvils like that. Rails count, but they're kind of ugly. Yeah, so this was definitely a challenge building in the nether, but I think it's time for us to begin building our new front section of the west wing. This is the west, right? Yes, the west wing. So as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the montage. All right, be honest. What do you guys think so far? I'm really liking it. Okay, ignore the little ugly shulker monster, but this is what we got so far. I'm pretty content with how this is shaping up, especially with the texturing. Ooh, I had a lot of fun with this, you know, kind of messing a lot with the browns, but still trying to throw in a little bit of stone. You know, those gray tones with the stone and the mossy stone bricks, kind of getting in those, kind of squeezing those mossy stone bricks in through the overgrown canopy, I guess. As you can see, we're using a lot of the azalea leaves because I still want a lot of green. Green everywhere. Oh my god, trying to build for spawn proofing, not fun. So up top here, we have a bit of a bush spam, and then we have these slabs, and then some moss carpet on top of everything. I don't know if I included it in the montage. I got attacked a few times by a few stray ghasts and a few stray skeletons. But I held my ground because I'm a freaking gamer. But I'm pretty happy with how this is coming along. Now we got to add in our backdrop of a mountain and some trees to go alongside it. Maybe we build the mountain first, and then the trees. All right, so for the mountain, I'm kind of thinking of sticking to a darker palette, using a lot of blackstone, some deep slates, a little bit of basalt, and a little dot of tuff. Could really be nice for the texturing, for a little bit extra contrast. With how I have my fog set up for the nether, it lacks a lot of contrast, so we need to force a bit more of it to really get a good effect for the mountain. So it has a bit more shape and form to it. I think that, does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Anyways, I digress. Let's get back to the montage and start working on the mountain and trees. And we'll pretty much be done establishing our theme for our nether hub. I am loving how this has turned out. Look at the mountains and the trees and the little tram over there too, to kind of continue the whole, you know, train thing we got going on over here. We got to have a little bit of a train coming out on this side right here, just to establish that this is only for these trains right here. And then our regular minecart rail goes straight this way. I really like how these tunnels came out too, with all the foliage hanging over. And the trees, I really like how these trees have this color, the foliage color here. You know, obviously we're in the nether, so there's not a lot of green. We get a lot of green from, you know, the moss here and the leaves on the lower level here. We use a lot of spruce and birch leaves and the azalea leaves because they're not affected by biome color. So we can keep a lot of that green aesthetic to it. But we also got a little bit of the pale leaves here because they have a nice gray texture to them. And a nice, like, you know, Spanish moss, grayed out moss kind of feel to it. And, you know, from the reference image I used, there's also a lot of, you know, that kind of earthier tones rather than the green. So I think it turned out really nice with all the foliage kind of hanging over. And the trees back here, I think it's just such a nice contrast with the very bright greens. Have a really doled out yellowish green. And then the very dark background with the basalt and the deep slate and the blackstone and even a little bit of mud in there too. I think it looks so nice. They all contrast and layer very nicely with the fog here too. The tuff really stands out, kind of help highlight some random little spots. Using the blackstone to create some more interesting just depth overall. I'm really happy with how this all turned out. And this hopefully kind of establishes a little bit more of what we're going to be doing with the whole hub area up here. Hello, Enderman over there. What are you doing? So yeah, eventually we'll continue these mountains all the way around, and this whole little thing will become its own valley. Now, my one issue is I do want to kind of fix up this area over here in the future. I think we'll be adding in a bit more depth with our terrain, you know, have some more elevation changes throughout, because we'll have a lot of empty space, especially out like over here and on the right, like in these big like kind of quadrants. But I think that's a future Barce problem because, you know, he can handle it, right? Now, when I first started working on this, I was kind of bummed out with the whole blue sky thing because I think the blue sky is definitely one of the more ugly nether colors. Because, like, look, when we go over to the red section over here, if we go back a little bit further, like right over here, the red is just so menacing and it feels so nethery to me. And I really like how it feels. But I'm actually kind of starting to really like the blue because I just feel like it contrasts so well with the green. You know, blue and green are very, I guess contrast is the wrong word, but I think I like the blue because it just feels like it really blends, but also contrasts the green very well. I don't know how to explain it. I think it's because of the foliage colors, because they're a little bit more yellow, and blue and yellow kind of contrast each other, while blue and green are a little close on the color wheel. So I don't know. I do like the blue. It's been growing on me a little bit more. But yeah, this thing is looking pretty sweet. I can already kind of imagine what this is all gonna look like on the surface. Oh, it's gonna be so cool having all these little different tunnel exits. And yeah, of course, for this direction here, we're gonna need a lot of blocks. I'll finally be able to use all of the shulker boxes of stone that I have. I have so much freaking stone. Been trying to get rid of it. I think this is where I'll finally be using it because we have to make this tunnel going all the way down this way. Very far. This is at least, I don't know, like 400 blocks or so. And then probably when we get to this little junction right here, we'll kind of open it back up. We'll have the tunnel open back up, and then we'll have this direction. Maybe it goes into another tunnel, you know, like this will be a nice little open area over there too. And then maybe we don't have a tunnel for this section because it's not that long. So it could be kind of cool to have like a nice little mountain range as you're approaching Seaside over here. And yes, of course, everything is mob proofed because I don't know if I included it in the montage, but I was getting berated by ghasts when I was doing this. And I thought I was going to get freaking grief to all end, but it was all right. I managed my own. Got to make sure I mob proofed everything, carpet all over the place. I'm sure there's a few spots where a guy can spawn or two, like kind of right here on this back end where, you know, the cliff is kind of overhanging on this side. And because I'm, you know, a lazy builder and this is hollow on the outside, you know, it's like a Disney freaking wall, a background wall or whatever. So yeah, we got to add in some carpets on the back side here and a little bit over there as well. But for the most part, we don't really spawn proof all that much. Oh, you know what? I just realized that we got to spawn proof this too when we build it all the way out. Maybe we'll just do stone slabs or something. I'm not sure. Oh man, I didn't even think of that. But anyways, y'all, I gotta get started on next week's episode. That's right, I am double booking myself this weekend. I have a lot of work to get ahead on because I'm leaving out of the country for about 2 weeks. So the next 2 videos after this one are pre-recorded. So I won't be like, you know, addressing any comments or anything like I sometimes do. Where'd you come from? You're not supposed to be here. I wonder where he spawned from. Anyways, y'all, that's going to do it for this week's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, I really do appreciate it. Oh, I know where he spawned. It's right here. I guess no sign right there. Unfortunate. Here, let's do that. Train. If you liked the video, make sure to like the video. If you liked me, subscribe. And if you really liked me, consider joining as a member. Big shout out to all of the Barcer Pluses on the left side of your screen right now. Consider joining as a Barcer Plus if you want to be credited on the left here. And we're also trying to do a little bit more member related things. So make sure to look into the benefits on the Discord channel. In my Discord, of course, discord.gg/barce. Yes, join. Anyways, y'all, that's going to do it. Bye.